match between ByuN and soO. Well, let's get into this and see what's going to happen. To the bottom left-hand side, our blue Terran player. Give it up if you're going to be cheering on Team Experts ByuN. Top right-hand side is our red Zerg as we hit cross spawns here on Frost, which will be a bit different to what we saw, of course, between Solar and Innovation. It will be much more beneficial towards the Zerg player here. We have to the top right-hand side, soO. Let's see what he can do in this ZvT to try and put himself into that decider match for a rematch against Solar. Set up into this. We'll be rolling in just a few moments' time. Couple drones on the way out to begin with, actually, from soO here, so setting up in towards that. I mean, obviously not really expecting anything too crazy in TVZ. Again, TVZ out of all the matchups, I feel, is one that's least affected by the 6-worker start. There's not a lot of all-ins as Zerg generally throws the way of a Terran super early in the game like this. You know, nothing that you couldn't do on 12 workers anyways, so yeah, it is one of these ones that I think is very similar to kind of a 12-worker start. This is Legacy of the Void, Ace baby, asking in the chat. It's just a 6-worker start instead of 12 workers. It's the only difference. Otherwise, it is all straight up standard Legacy of the Void stuff. So, just 6 workers, the only difference here today in this event. As we set on up, and look to see what's going to happen. Hatchery actually comes down here from soO on the natural expansion, and we are just going to be seeing Command Center setting up on the natural expansion from ByuN as well. So both players expanding. ByuN even with the Command Center first here, so really just going into that great greedy play from himself in the get-go of this game. I wonder whether he intends to play kind of a 3CC like we saw Innovation doing earlier, or if he just plans to play a bit more aggressively on the 2 bases. I guess we'll see over the next few moments. As this barrack starts to set on up here from ByuN, starts to get ready to go. We see one Overlord to the top side, one Overlord coming down towards the bottom right. Set up in towards this and, again, see what we can do here over the next few minutes. Alrighty. Alrighty. Spawn pool will finish up in a few moments from soO, and we are just seeing Overlords kind of splitting up and going in a couple different directions. Nothing too crazy yet, as I mentioned. Again, I feel, you know, when we talk about the benefits of going back to a 6-worker start and the negatives, this for me is one of the negatives. The fact that if both players do just macro, which happens a lot in the TVZ especially, it does really just slow down the game for no real reason. Like, if this was a 12-worker start, we'd be, you know, getting some action going already, whereas as it stands right now, it is just that little bit slower. And again, that's kind of the whole discussion, or point of this discussion, about the trade-off of the choice of having a bit more variety early in the game versus when it is just macro, it being a little bit slower to get into that actual macro stage. And again, like I mentioned, I think for TVZ it really is a negative because very rarely do you see kind of the masses of aggression in TVZ early on compared to kind of in CVZ, for example, or TVT, or even TVP. There's so many different builds you can go for and which really change up by having a 6-worker start. So, setting up into this and a few minutes here as we get ready to go. Need speed on the way up here from soO. Doom of Melantai in the chat says, I want to see a 6 pool for old time's sake, but don't think it's going to happen. We have seen them in previous OG 6-start events. Sometimes in the ZvZ, I think even sometimes someone at one point 6-pooled in a ZvT, which was kind of amusing. I actually think overall, in terms of actual gameplay, for the other 6-worker start events, we've seen some much crazier stuff, I guess, than we've seen out of the Koreans here in this event. We really have seen. I remember Cripsale in the OG 6-start number 2, I believe, was someone who was actually throwing down his gateway in his opponent's Terran base right from the start of every single game, and actually was taking down players such as soO and Beastie Cutie with it. So it really was, that really was kind of something that was very exciting, I guess, from the OG 6-start. And that's what I think those are the games that we kind of miss out on a bit with 12 workers, so it's interesting. It's very interesting as we're going to be seeing this zone just getting picked off by the first couple Hellions. Some of the answers are being given to us by ByuN. I mean, we see this third CC building up is very much so what Innovation did in game number 1 of his series against soO, which was just to build up a fast free CC off of 1 gas, then go into extra racks, then double engineering bay. In fact, it's pretty much the exact same build, just this by ByuN was done off of a CC first instead of a Reaper expand. Third hatchery here from soO is going to finish up, and we are just going to be seeing a queen on the way out. Some drones going to transfer down to the slow ground. Couple of Evos on the way up as well. So just as we have a bit of a passive opening, just again to kind of go back to the 6 versus 12 worker start, I know a lot of players who have played the 6 workers say they like the feeling of kind of just having a bit more kind of diversity between the mid game and early game. A lot of the time nowadays it feels like you just rush up to free bases right away with 12 workers, like super early. A lot of players say as well they kind of feel as though it's nice to actually have early aggression matter a little bit more, in the sense that if you commit to 1 base proxy oracle or something, it's nice that that actually does slow down your eco, versus nowadays you go 1 base proxy oracle while taking an expansion the same as always. So it is kind of cool to kind of, everyone has different opinions on it. Some people come in and they just say, well, it's actually terrible. I don't think it's good at all actually. So it's kind of funny. A lot of people like watching it, some people don't. I think the greatest thing is though that even if you don't like watching the very early game, that at least kind of from here on out, you know, at this point of this game for example, it is just very standard Legacy of the Void stuff. Like, you know, now the early game is past, it is just what we expect it to be, very much so. Anyways, we set on up, and we just look to see how it will, this game will establish itself into towards the mid game. 4th hatchery from soO again so far, both players super passive. First 2 Hellions of ByuN did get taken down, nothing too spectacular, as they got lost. I mean, ByuN just loses a little bit of map control, which is a bit of a shame, but far from the end of the world, as we see 1-1 upgrades on the way up from either side. That 1-1 of ByuN will be finishing very shortly, just a little bit ahead of the Zerg players 1-1. As we see the Spire on the way up from soO, so just straight up link bay meter from our Zerg here. Our Terran very much so looking as though he's just going to play the Quad M playstyle, the Marine Marauder Medevac Widowmine, and just go into, well, just TVZ as we kind of know it really. 2 Widowmines on the way up as the 2 Medevacs will load and start moving towards the upper right hand side of the map. And start unloading up here also, and we see a lot of links coming in to immediately just shut this down. ByuN loses 1 single Marine. We'll have to just continue flying up to the top side. Again, I mean, you could have really taken this so far and just looked at it as game number 1 of Innovation versus soO. And from the Terran side of things, it's very similar. The Terran pushes across with the 1-1 upgrades as the first Medevacs pop out, just trying to clean some creep, just looking for some opportunities. Obviously from soO, it's very different to what soO played. He's playing this Ling Bay Muta, which we never saw out of soO in any of his games. So a little bit of a different playstyle here, as we will just see this few Medevacs just moving around. And actually, I mean, to be fair, on Cross Spawn Frost, it is kind of a great map to play the Ling Bay Muta on. A lot of different attack paths, left, right, and center. A lot of ways you can move around the map and make the most of it, as we see a whole bunch of these creep teamers getting picked off here. Something's going to move on forwards and see if they can add anything into this as well. And you see already just these Medevacs going to come in, lift up those Marines, and start boosting on in towards this third base, which is where they're actually going to unload underneath these Mutalisks. 2 meters going to go down, at least 3 meters go down. Now he lifts up and he'll back away again. Meanwhile, he's got some Marines towards the 4th base as well, and ByuN, he'll actually just back away from this one. But nice pressure so far, and soO's slipping up a little bit, allowing some of his meters to be picked off. Not brilliant from his own side of things so far. He's a bit ahead on the 2-2 upgrades though. ByuN's armory was delayed, and so he does lack the 2-2 going into the next stage of this. We do just see the Ling Bane going to be coming on down towards the bottom right hand side to try and do a little bit more. They're going to be able to kind of catch some of the Marines again. The meter count not completely terrifying just yet, not high enough to completely chase down full Medevac submarines, and right now these Marines will be able to unload once more to turn those meters away. And well, now ByuN going for a little bit of a larger push out. Again, I mean, 2-2 should be finishing up soon, but he kind of forgot that armory, so it did delay him a little bit. So he has to be very careful with this attack because he does not have an upgrade advantage, and he is going to be playing against an upgrade lead of soO, so he does not want to push too far forwards. Just some scans to clean up creep would be great right now. So the top side, these Marines are going to stick around, fight Lings for just a little bit before backing away to the upper left-hand side. Marines drop off again, another Muta going down here. We are going to see a couple of creep teamers getting picked off. Maybe another one here in the next few moments as well, as you do see this Liberator coming in towards the back of the natural expansion. Siege is up here, and we will see some of these drones going to start getting picked away at. So drones already going down. No response from soO just yet, but he is chasing this little bit of an army to the south side. And that is what we're talking about. ByuN has to be so careful with where he pushes forwards, because he wasn't in the best positions to take a fight here. As the Queen does get around the back. Liberate on 6 kills though, but one in the main base on 3, now 4 kills. I mean, Queens will clean this up or force repositions. ByuN's still finding damage with this. Mutas will come in and get the Liberator after 1 more kill here, as the Liberator just slightly relocates to get 2 more drones before the Mutas come in and clean up. We might get 1 more as well. Well, good play by the Liberators. They've actually achieved quite a lot here. ByuN with 4 medevacs loaded up, going to head on the map once again to try and do a bit more. As we see, moving forwards, ByuN going to try and get something done in the next few moments now. Some Marines, Widowmine starting to unload. A lot of these Marines and Widowmine starting to unload here, actually setting up in towards the center of the map. +1 vehicle plating on the way up, +3 for ByuN coming in as well. As we're going to see these Banes are continuing to roll on forwards, but not real. Actually, they get some pretty good connections towards the end here. Widowmines are the ones that aren't connected, and that one at the top didn't even get to go off. As now we see ByuN in a little bit of trouble, as Widowmine to the right-hand side doesn't connect on anything either, and every single medevac will be lost here. Meanwhile, he has a drop to the top side, so he will at least deny some mining on the 4th base, but that's pretty much all he's doing right here, as these Lings will continue to drop on down once again. A lift up on the medevac, jumps into the main once more, as this Queen comes forward and will start to target that medevac all over again. Lings keep on pushing forwards. This medevac's going to die. It's a nice pick off here by soO. It's a good defense while also being aggressive mid-map and winning that fight. It's a couple trades in a row which go in favor of soO, as he has got the opportunity now to go up into Hive, and so we're not going to see that Terran player sitting on 3-3 against Lingbane Muta forever, which is kind of the dream scenario. He's very much so going to have to start dealing with ultras, upgrades of the Zerg player himself, adrenal glands, and all the rest of this. Lone Widowmine is so dangerous here. It doesn't quite connect on anything just yet, as ByuN continues the aggression, pushing over to the right-hand side of the map to try and get something done. Medevac being chased away by these Mutas. We're going to see Marines continue to drop, and the Mutas will start to catch a few of them. They're starting to go down. This Medevac as well going to get picked off right there. The Marines and Marauders going to be doing a little bit more damage here and there as well, just picking off a few units. 1 Marine on the low ground will get picked off by the Mutas there. And again, just ByuN moving around to figure out where he wants to go, what he wants to do. Some more Banes on the way up, some more Zerglings on the way up. 3 free upgrades as well from ByuN. A whole chunk of SCV is going to start transferring to another base here in the next few moments. And again, just going to see an Ultra Cavern dropping down from soO. Ultra Cavern dropping down. Some of these Mutas going to go all the way over to the left-hand side. Still just going to be seeing a scan in the center of the map once again. ByuN looking to see what he can do with this, maybe, as we're going to see the 2 Widowmines begin to unload. And we are going to be seeing Widowmines going to get ready to go off. They kill off a few of these Banes already. Some nice pick-off so far to the left-hand side. Some of the creeps starting to be cleaned out. It's going to be a large fight in the center here just before ByuN's free upgrades, though. So that's not going to be great for him. And you can see so far soO taking advantage of the fact that he's engaging on creep. Comes in from pretty much a 180 angle through the top side of the map. And ByuN's army being pushed all the way back. No medevacs left over. ByuN going to have to start doing some splitting here, because there's a hell of a lot of Banelings that are still coming in to connect. And we're going to see this fall. Well, he is tanking a few of them, but so many Marines keep on dropping in. ByuN, even with further reinforcements here, it's not looking pretty for him. He'll kill off maybe 1-2 Mutas with that 4, but it's still not enough. Contaminates to stop anything else coming out of that factory. And now this 3rd base mineral line is going to be absolutely ransacked here. Tries to repair the turret, but that means the SCVs are stacked for the Banelings to come on in. Everything gets taken down. Mutas are going to be able to clean on up, and that is ByuN in so much trouble here. soO dominating game number 1 in the last few minutes, and that is GG. soO takes game 1 of the series. This series, soO is up by 1. And that means our blue Terran player to the lower right-hand side of the map from Team Expert is ByuN. Top left-hand side, our red Zerg player. Give it up for soO. Looking very good for himself so far here in our first losers matchup game. Second game coming up in just a few moments' time. Set up in towards this and see what will really happen here on Odyssey, our second map of the series. Remember, Solar is waiting in the decided match to see who else will be advancing through this group. Some great games so far today. If you did miss soO versus Solar the first time around, it was actually a very exciting series full of different sort of ZvT build orders and all sorts of other bits and pieces. So it was very, very exciting. And excited to potentially see that again right now with the way this series has been going. soO didn't really do anything wrong in that first game. There's a few points where the Liberators did a lot more damage than they maybe should have done. Yeah, ByuN was doing okay, but so difficult to push on cross-spawn Frost, and eventually that really did start to show, and he got picked off. He got a whole bunch of his stuff picked off, and led him to that position there where he was in a little bit of a tough spot, really, altogether. So just waiting to see what will happen now in this second game. Again, a bit of a slower start up here, and especially, well, at least ByuN's making a Marine this time. Last game going CC first, he really had nothing to do early game. This time he might try and hunt an Overlord. This one right here might be a little bit out in the open. Obviously the kind of high ground is something which this Overlord will try and aim to get to, but will he get there in time? Probably will against just one Marine. ByuN will start working his way through this. Let's see if we can get this kill. And this is just going to be seeing the Overlord pushing forwards and trying to take this high ground. Looks as though he will be able to just about get up there. So that Marine won't be able to do too much reactor building behind this as ByuN will then start up the factory shortly. So pretty similar to the last, not quite the last game, but one of the games that Inno had. And I think this is how Inno opened in the third game against soO. Reactor and then a factory, and so you had a lot of Marines for Widow Mine drop initially, which then led into a Hellbat attack a little bit later on. This is not Heart of the Storm, guys. It's Legacy of the Void. Just restart with 6 workers in the game instead of 12. That's the whole point of this tournament series, the OG6 start. The first time I saw it, it was in French, and I didn't know quite what it was about, and I tried to figure out and I couldn't, and then I asked to cover it and they said yeah sure, and then I realized that it was about 6 workers and it was all cool and stuff, and yeah, it was pretty neat, it was pretty nifty, I gotta say. So we do set up into this then. There's a couple of Overlords spreading themselves out so far. We do see that hatchery up on the natural finished up already, and obviously link speed on the way from soO as well. Really nothing crazy from him in the first few minutes of this game. Starport will start up for ByuN. This tourney can indeed have 6 pools, Bambulac. We have seen some of them, not in this tournament, but in previous editions of the tournament. 6 pool has indeed been a thing. It's been very fun to see, actually. As we're going to be seeing this Marine of ByuN just moving around over the left-hand side. Starport is on the way up. We'll be finishing in a moment or two. And Mule already just dropped down there onto the natural expansion. A couple of Hellions of ByuN going to move out in towards the center. Obviously going to try and see what they can get up to themselves. Third hatchery of soO starts up to the far left as an armory will come down from ByuN as well. So ByuN going to go for this Hellbat attack, something Innovation killed soO with, although it was a little bit of a different build order. He went for that Hellion Marine mine drop initially. But this time it is going to indeed be just straight up kind of Hellbats with the Marines to support. Let's see what soO will have to defend. Currently on the map, 4 Queens, a 5th Queen building, and a extra couple of Lings. But Innes starts to come on down, but will not be here in time to deal with the initial wave of Hellbats, as the Overlord Scout gets shut down by these Marines. But soO, with the number of Marines he's seen and the fact there's Hellions now, gets a pretty good idea as to what it probably is going to be overall. As this medevac starts to move across, 6 Marines inside of it. Let's see what soO can do in terms of a defense right here. Obviously, a lot of this will revolve around gathering the Koreans back up together, and I like this. soO actually already getting damage on some of these Hellions. Means that the Hellbats are already, a couple of them, just on a little bit lower health than they need to be. Already some of that medevac energy going to be getting drained. Extra Lings on the way out. No Spine Crawler to help defend. soO will have to micro well here, but here we go. The Queen's starting to split up. Pulls that 1 damage Queen already towards the back. Pushes forwards, wants to try and get that medevac kill, remember. That's going to be a huge one. Nice transfuse initially. These Queens have more transfuses spread among them, and that's going to be huge. Keeps another Queen with a transfuse alive, and that's going to be really important now as this medevac getting low. The Hellbat's already getting cleaned out. What a defense by soO. Wow. ByuN does nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I mean, like, absolutely nothing here with this. Like, forcing some Lings isn't really enough. 43 workers to the 32. soO will be so happy with this. And he has Queens in position again to push these Hellbats and Marines back, as we'll be seeing just a Hellbat drop towards the main. But super low health medevac has to be so cautious. Okay, most of the Queens are down towards the third base, but there is still one in the main. The last thing you want to be doing right now is ByuN is losing this medevac, and he knows it. He drops off and he backs away instantly to back away from this. Because you can see the Lings do come in and get this around, and as the medevac takes targeted down, suddenly those Hellbats are very much so just dead. Still Hellions coming across the map. A Banshee now as well. Cloak is finished. But is it going to really work out? Lair's about to finish soon, so even this Banshee, I don't think it's got too long to really do damage. The Spore Crawler's up as well, so it doesn't feel as though there's going to be very much done here at all. And ByuN, not the best of starts for him as he starts up his third CC. soO really going to be allowed to kind of play his game from this point on, though. ByuN's just run out of momentum, kind of hitting a brick wall. soO just a little bit good defensively right now. Just Queen taking a little bit down from that Banshee there. Couple of big teams pushing out onto the map, and we are just going to be seeing Marines and Hellbats pulling back towards the center of the map once again. Banshee on cloaks, and in the meantime we still just see Queens gathering up together, some Lingbane as well gathering up together. Marines and Hellbats going up to the high ground here from ByuN and seeing what he can get up to. Perhaps these Lings coming through the top side and try and get a bit more done themselves. Hydra's down from soO, so he's going to go from Lingbane Mutalisk from the last game into Lingbane Hydra. And that's a big meta switch we've seen over the last month or two from Zergs and ZvT. And it's something that's very prominent too in IEM Shanghai, Home Story Cup, and all these major events we've seen recently. WCS Valencia as well, although not a lot of TVZs in that event. Ling's going to hit the front door. Depot's already starting to take some damage. SCVs will come in and start trying to do a bit of repairing. And we'll see these couple of Marines will be able to push those Zerglings back. Meanwhile, Bane's already pushing forwards here. Going to look to try and get some damage done. Hellbats start splitting up in different directions. I mean, a couple of those Hellbats do go down. Some more of them here from ByuN. Still just on the map. Meanwhile, the two Banshees hit the main base. With Hydra's coming out, these Banshees are going to have to be so careful because there's going to be so much that can shoot upwards. It's going to be so little that these Banshees are really going to be able to do. Doesn't quite grab that Queen just yet. Now it backs even further away. The Hydralisk will go down though. And soO's struggling a little bit more than he should be to deal with these couple of Banshees. Meanwhile, ByuN finds the gold base over to the left-hand side. The fourth base on the way up here. Good information for ByuN. He's going to be able to shut that down nice and quickly. One Banshee picked off already. The second Banshee flies away to the right. You see these few Hydras coming forwards, and the Hellbats will be taking some shots. Some Lings here to support it just in case he needs it. And he will be able to nice split away to minimize the Hellbat splash damage. No need to take extra damage if you don't have to. In 9 minutes in this game, we're finally going to be able to see ByuN landing his third CC, but that's taking him so long. And look at everything soO's got going for himself. Hydras continue coming up. He's got 1-1 upgrades already. He can go into 2-2 if you would like. Does he just push? I feel like he might just want to push. Have you seen these Widowmine's Marines? A couple of medevacs coming over to the left-hand side. Hydra's going to find two medevacs instantly, and that's just ByuN. Not really paying enough attention here, really being a little bit sloppy with his play. Queen fighting this Banshee now as well. As we see these Marines are going to try and fight, but Banes are here to roll forwards. The Widowmine's getting taken down already. Love the pullback on the Banes as he realizes ByuN's just going to target fire those down. ByuN still doesn't even have combat shields. That's how much he delayed his tech into Bio this game because of this Hellbat attack, which still hasn't really done anything just yet. 2-2 upgrades still coming up here from soO. More Lings, Hydras, and Banelings coming on out from our Zerg player. A few more of these Zerglings coming out and just seeing what they can do. Hydras get rid of a medevac. I'm not sure if that had anything in it. It sort of feels as though it might have done. ByuN pushing up towards the front here, but soO's sort of setting up towards a big attack, it feels like. Doesn't want to let this game go too much longer, especially with how much he's already been able to get done this game. First initial Banes don't do a lot though. Now the Hydras are a little bit exposed to these Marines. Extra Banes going to start rolling through though. ByuN with Titan when he needs it. Those Banes don't feel as though they're connecting well enough, but at the same time the Hydras are putting out so much damage it might not matter anyways. Banes still rolling forwards. We're still yet to see big Bane connections at all this game. Here we go. Maybe now we do see some Banes connection as the Hydras have gotten rid of the medevacs already. ByuN just has no real way to deal with this. He's knocked out as the first player of Group B.